Hello, good day, freaks. I am here to drop in with you on this lead up to a very significant full moon we got going on. It's a pink moon in the sign of Libra, and this one is wrapping up a very important cycle. So I want to dive into that. We are doing this as part of the Aries Point Road Opener series we're doing here at BroadCoven, where we're really on a journey of transformation collectively together as we lead up to that 0 degree Aries point when the nodes of destiny change in Leo season and we have Taurus North nodes sliding on into that Aries North node position where we really activate our new vision, our new way forward. And it's not just a new way forward personally, it's also a new way forward collectively. So there's a lot in the mainframe. There's a lot happening. It's very loaded astrology. There's challenges with it, and we're going to talk about those things, but there's also a lot of opportunity for transformation, to reinvent your life, and to move forward in revolutionary new ways. So I'm really excited to dive into this with all of you. And I'm just going to kind of set the template. I think I want to get um, some purification going on here before we dive into the astrology talk. Just kind of set the tone. Hello, welcome. Good to have you here. We're going to be diving into this reading. I want to talk about this astrology we have coming in. This is a very significant full moon. This full moon actually is wrapping up a cycle that began with the Libra new moon back just after fall equinox in 2022. That actually was a new moon that went down on October 24th. Okay. And that particular new moon was Quincyx Jupiter. And it was also during, a solar eclipse cycle that was just getting ready to wrap up in October. So it kind of preceded this Quincyx Jupiter energy with this solar eclipse that came in October 22nd, which brought us a lot of uncertainty in regard to how do I achieve fulfillment? How do I find the way forward? What is really going to make my heart happy? Do I even know what gives me that feeling of happiness, that feeling of fulfillment? Okay. And there was a lot we couldn't see back then. We have to really look at the cycles that were coming to a close at that time as a whole. So, in came this new moon in Libra, okay, on the 24th of September. Right after that, we had this Quincyx Jupiter energy with the solar eclipse in October, all right? And then right after that in November, we had the final lunar eclipse of the season that was all about challenges, setbacks, fear about moving forward, fear about our future, uncertainty, and in particular in relation to economics, related to the basic structure of how we build our futures in material reality. Okay, so these were things that were front and center, all a big concern. So when we're looking at what we're wrapping up with this particular full moon, because full moons are always about culmination, there's bringing things to fruition, but it's also about things that we need to release, things that we need to let go of, things that we are closing a cycle on. And we're closing a very important karmic cycle. We know this. We got Aries and Libra in the main frame. Okay. It's Aries season. And happy solar return to all of you Aries out there. I wish you lots of blessed new beginnings. We also have its opposite, Libra, very much in play with this astrology, with this full moon. That's going to continue. It's going to be a running theme, just like it was last year. Last year, we had a lot of opposition between Mars and Venus, and it was all happening in the signs of Aries and Libra. And it's because it's really gearing us up for the shift in those nodes of destiny that comes in July. All right. we're going to have Libra taking over that south node from Scorpio. So this is about really closing up an important karmic cycle. And it's all coming in tandem with a lot of revolutionary energy. I mean, we're also in the tail end of the Kali Yuga when all kinds of lies and illusion are being destroyed. So we can kind of look at the tower, how it's affected all of us collectively. We can sift through that rubble. And in doing so, doing our integrative healing work around it, we have to recognize that, we got to start brand new. We can't build on what we had before, because what we had before was a faulty foundation. So it's not just a very important cycle for us personally, it's also a very significant cycle for us globally. And we are all being impacted by this. It is going to be full moon at 9:37 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the States. And it will be, of course, just after midnight at 12:37 a.m. here on Eastern Standard Time. This is a pretty intense. It's a pretty intense full moon, and a lot of you are going to feel it. And the reason why you're going to be feeling it is we got a lot of action going on with opposition to Chiron. And right now, Chiron is in Aries. Okay. And so when we're looking at Chiron in Aries, and we know all about this, all right, this is everything to do with all of this shadow integration work we've been doing over the past year. We had a lot of experiences last year in 2022 with these Uranus square meetups, that really caused us to have to fall back on ourselves because we repeatedly had the rug pulled out from under us. We had to think on our feet. We had to learn how to move, how to operate in a new way. We had to suspend logic in some cases. In some cases, we had to look at things with fresh eyes. It's all leading up to this very important juncture that we're heading towards with that Aries point. We recently had some big shifts too with that Saturn moving into Pisces, and of course with Pluto moving into Aquarius. And it's all interconnected. We're really freeing ourselves right now is what it comes down to. It's a big melting pot of liberation stew. And it's going to play out in all of your lives in a different way, but we're certainly seeing it on a global level too. The need for reinvention, the need for looking outside of the box. We're watching the economic structure, the economic infrastructure completely, radically shift. And there's a lot happening there as well. So all of this stuff is playing a role, and is front and center with this particular full moon. We also have, to look at that Chiron as a very deep personal aspect, because Aries and Chiron is about the wound of the self. So it's our most deeply intimate, personal shadow stuff that we need to integrate and heal and have the courage to pull up out of those depths and realize that when we open up that Pandora's box, we may just find a jewel we can pluck from that will bring something forward in the future, something to invest in the future. There is some light that gets through, and it's about us making best use of that. It's also about really freeing ourselves from attachment right now, which is challenging, right? When you look at a Libra full moon, because traditionally Libra is all about relating. It's all about connection. It's not about detachment. So this really causes us to bump up against the ways that we are attached when it comes to connection, and how that affects us. Additionally, this full moon is Kinsek's Uranus, which is opposite Chiron. So again, we're going to have kind of these activating experiences that will be going down for us, not just today, but throughout this lunar cycle. So, we usually got a good 28 days in a lunar cycle, and this is the work that we're going to be focusing on. That's why, I kicked off this Aries point, clear, align, activate, transformational series here at BroadCoven, because we all got work to do and to take best advantage of the opportunities on offer. And there are opportunities on offer, but they're going to require you to step up to a whole new dimension of yourself. You can't play it the way you used to. You can't move into this new cycle and have any level of cowardice. You have to be very brave. You also have to follow your heart. It has to be connected with meaning. You have to be able to release, your grip on the way things work and accept that all of us are moving into unknown territory right now. Very big, like jaguar medicine, moving forward into the unknown, trusting the steps that will lead to our path where we belong. We may have to get lost for a while. We may have to sort of ramble on and go out exploring and feel our way through. But we are all being set up for our track that leads to the future. 1111, we're coming into alignment. And it's a very potent time. It's a very potent time. It's not just a potent time for us personally, but it's so important that we first look at it personally, because what we do personally is going to have a great impact on the collective whole. And it's about each of us understanding that responsibility, how we're choosing to show up in the world, how we're choosing to use our voices in the world, where we're investing our energy in the world. All of it has an impact on the collective. So, very significant time, very significant time. Now, with that pattern, I was talking about the Kinshasa Uranus opposition Chiron to the moon. They call that an irritation triangle. So, what you should be prepared for is a lot of things to come along and kind of pick at that wound of the self. Expect some activation, expect some sensitivity, expect that you may have periods of purging. I'm getting really big purging energy, really big, cry it out, let it go, release it, sing it out, dance it out. There's also this piece coming in about creativity, to work in partnership with the energy, work in partnership to make something beautiful come out of that pain, to make something beautiful be born out of that trauma, to let it be something that is alchemized into a gift that gives back to the world in some way, a gift that leaves your particular legacy, your particular imprint of your medicines and what you've gained through your experiences that offers up something to others. It's very potent work right now, and it matters. All of it matters right now. And I think people are really waking up to that. I think people are really feeling that. Um, we also have some beneficial elements in play, and so I want to talk about those things too. And I'm gonna do a card read here. I did want to get some smoke cleansing going. I'm just going to kind of play with this energy, see where it wants to go with me, and we'll see what happens. I have no plans for this. This read that I'll be doing, it will be for all signs, and we're just going to kind of look at what wants to come in regard to how we can best move through this lunar cycle and take advantage of the opportunities that are on offer. The opportunity is for healing. The opportunity is to step into integrity. The opportunity is to really step into our power and our ability to affect change, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of the collective, by how we choose to show up. So we have some choices to make at this time. We have some choices that Libra balancing. Look, it's all about this new beginning, right? This new beginning, in that personal fulfillment, that place within us where we feel connected with something higher, where we feel connected with a higher ideal, where we let that purification come in, like I was talking about, to just sort of cleanse away any of the old heavy energy from the old cycle. Anything that you're feeling like you're kind of having a hard time releasing, like there's some kind of energetic attachment. This is really the time to engage in your spiritual baths. I'm very fortunate out here right now. We got some rain coming down, and I plan on going out and really enjoying a rain bath and doing some spiritual cleansing that way. So I do encourage you, if you have the opportunity, even if you just make your shower tonight, have a little bit more of a focus of intention to cleanse away, to purify. It can have an impact. And by all means, do get together. Um, what is with this deck? Isn't this funny? Okay, so half of the deck was upright, on this side, but it also was on this side. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of that energy, and isn't that very much Libra? Where's the hope? Where do we find the hope? Where is that sun? Where is that North Star that I should be following? We may be in two minds about that. This is so wild. These cards are all like flipped around. I've never had this happen with my deck before. So this is interesting in and of itself. You might be a little bit mixed up right now, collective. You might be confused about your options. You may still be weighing things out. There's really kind of this memo coming through around, we're getting close to the time to take action, so we can only weigh things out for so long. We can only weigh things out for so long. At some point, you have to just really sink into your gut. It's about that gut level instinct, and feel out where it wants you to direct your energy, direct your actions, direct your effort. Now, the beneficial aspects we have means that we're going to get some good, helpful momentum going in terms of communications, being able to say what we need to say, being able to have some clarity where there's been some ambiguity. We have Mercury sextile Mars, okay, and that helps us, really get clear on our thoughts, our plans for the future, where seems like the best option at this point. Some of you might need to take a risk. You might just have to look at all the options you have before you and just really sink into what feels like the best choice you can make at this point, okay? Because we do have what we need in this cycle to take those thoughts, to take those plans, to take what maybe used to just be an idea, an inspiration, a vision, and actually put it into action. Now we have a chance to plant that seed with the Ace of Pentacles and bring it into being. We also have Mercury sextile Saturn, which means that we're going to have a lot more clarity, all right? We might be feeling a little mixed up right now as we do our last little bit of weighing out. But by the time we get to the end of this lunar cycle, we'll be very clear about where we need to direct our attention. We will have had a chance to look at the details. We know that the devil is in the details. It's the little things that can trip us up. So this means first kind of really honing in our vision, getting that bird's eye view, sort of panning out at first to get a real lay of the land, and then like setting the sights on a particular point, and understanding how this detail of my life, this one small aspect, it may not seem like a big deal, but it actually has a great effect on how the rest of my life flows, right? So it's looking at where you can kind of tighten things up, where you can do that last little tightening up of the nuts and bolts, make sure that your foundation is in integrity, before you go and build again, right? Before you build your future, because we don't want another tower. We don't want to build a tower on faulty ground. Now, part of that clarity also involves this eclipse energy that's coming, to play, with this lunar cycle, because it was in play between that Libra new moon and this Libra full moon we got right now. So that means what you couldn't see back there heading into October. And I think for those born in the month of October, so I'm talking to you, October Libras, as well as, September Libras, Virgos too, I feel, because they're right there sort of at the changing of the guards. And we did have that energy really coming into play when we were diving into reads back then. So I feel like that sector of the zodiac, Virgo, September Libras, but really impacting strongly October Libras and October Scorpios. we're really seeing uh, something very clearly that we weren't able to see back then. We're getting more details. I do feel like that's going to come in as well for September Libras and Virgos. It's coming in for everybody, but I just feel like it's a little bit more accented for that particular sector of the zodiac. And I feel for Virgos and for Libras born in September, it's more about there's still a little bit more you have yet to discover. There's still some information coming in for you, and this information is pivotal. You may have felt like you just aren't quite sure at all which direction you want to go. It's because you're waiting on these last little details, okay? There are some shakeups coming, okay? Not everything that we find out collectively is going to be to our liking. Some of it is going to put us in an uncomfortable position. It's going to require us to make really bold moves. We're going to have to follow the orders though, because we're getting the directive from spirit with that Hierophant energy here. We need to move toward these things to step into our destiny, that Taurus North Node. It's really about understanding where have we not been valuing the gift of our life because we've been investing it in things that keep us in places where our creative energy gets stuck and bound up, where we feel disempowered, where we don't have the freedom to move in the ways we want, to operate in the way we want, or where we're chained to something that is just very unfulfilling for us. We're really being asked to connect with what really, you know, brings us into the very essence of who we are. Because when we're operating from that level, we're exercising our power in a way that can bring a lot of transformation, not only into our life, but into the lives of the greater whole, because we're all connected energetically, right? We also have Mars trine Saturn, all right? So this is good. It's good to have Mars trine Saturn. It's a beneficial influence. It's going to give us a lot of courage. It's going to give us some balls, all right? It's going to give us some tenacity, some determination. It might make us feel a little cocky, and in due measure, that can work to our advantage. The more that you can feel confident and just kind of going after your goals, the better off you're going to be. So we do have a boost coming in there. Now, I do want to talk to those of you that are of the hello. Good to see you, Krista. I'm glad you made it to the live. Glad you're dropping in here. For those of you who do any kind of alchemical work, any kind of intentional visualization work, manifestation work, or those of you who are, workers of the path, those who practice the craft, this would be a really good night to do any kind of sort of cutting the cords on anything that has blocked your clarity, anything that you feel has kept you in a space of confusion or indecisiveness, anything that has affected your self-esteem. It's a good time to call in your courage. It's a good time to call in your bravery, to have the guts to go after that wild dream that might be taking roost in your heart. Okay, so while there are some challenging aspects we're dealing with, we have some good aspects in play too. So it's the same old song and dance. All right, we're going to have a lot of sort of like unpredictable curveballs thrown our way. But the good thing is, unlike last year, where we didn't have the pieces of the puzzle that we needed, or where certain truths were omitted that affect our way forward, now we're going to have those gaps filled. And so that's what helps us build a bridge, get over it, and get on with it. So it's a very positive cycle moving forward. And it was 24, 22 on the clock when I said it. I got like sentience going off like crazy. So you'll just have to excuse me. So yes, a lot of energy coming in around this one, especially with those eclipses and their residual energies influencing what's happening here. And I do want to say, for everybody out there, please, try to be sensitive to the nature of the astrology right now, because we do have, with that opposition to Aries and Chiron, there's a lot of sensitivity. There's a lot of people that are going to feel activated. There's a lot of people that are going to have, some heavy emotional stuff coming up for them. And so it's so important that we are mindful about just giving everybody a little breathing room, try not to take things too personally, try to give people the space they need, understand that there's a lot of sensitivities in play at this time. And then we're all kind of in this together doing this work. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like we're really formulating our plan. We know what we want to do. We might feel a little uncertain about how to go about it. We might be a little uncertain about how to move forward. But I feel like we're getting what we need. We're getting the communication that we need coming in that will help us take action. Um, some of the communication that comes in, though, it might be activating for us. It might come in through sort of a negative experience, but this negative experience is the catalyst that sort of like wakes us up out of our inertia. Sometimes life will do that. It always gives us an opportunity to let go, to move toward where we know our soul is calling us. But if we resist that, then sometimes we get dealt an experience that makes our present situation so intolerable. We have to find the courage to do something different. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of energy. I call it wicked blessing energy in play. All right. Quintessential Libra card. All right. Two of Swords. This is about the pause, that final pause. Okay, because after the full moon, what do we head into? We head into dark moon. All right. Dark moon is a time of reflection. Dark moon is a time of really looking within, readying yourself, steadying yourself. Can this be a stalemate? Absolutely, but I'm not taking it as this here, not with the energy in play. I feel this, you may be dealing with a stalemate with somebody, okay? This is a challenge that can come up during this cycle. You may be dealing with individuals that you cannot get on the same page with. You just cannot. You see things one way, they see things another way. You're not going to agree on it. And this is kind of coming as a message that in some cases it's better let sleeping dogs lie and get on with it. Get on with it. And if you're looking for some kind of healing, some kind of resolution, and you're expecting that to be delivered by somebody outside of yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. You can sit here at the crossroads until you're old as dirt and nothing's going to move forward. Okay. So there's some points when you have to create that closure for yourself. You have to be willing to, take some space, look really deeply inside of yourself, maybe block out some space to really sit with what you're feeling, these challenges you're having, where you feel stuck, where you feel trapped, where you feel like you don't have the ability to move forward. And really, tell yourself the truth, because this is a big truth telling time. You're not stuck. There's just something you haven't been able to see. You've been very confused because you've been looking outside of yourself. I love this when it comes in. It's true, because if you're getting all this information from the peanut gallery, or you have a bunch of people coming at you and they each have a different idea about what you need to do, or you feel a huge, heart connection, soul connection with another person, and you're brought, and distraught and fraught with worry because you don't know how to move forward in this connection, and you're really feeling the attachment you have to this person, having to be on board with what you want to do moving forward, and recognizing you can't force anybody to go along with you. You just can't. And so it's really causing us to look at ways that we need to let go, ways that we need to release, and how we're trying to, steer the ship when we're meant to just kind of give ourselves over and go along for this ride. But there is almost this need to really enter this meditative space, I feel, within this lunar cycle, in between this time of leading up to that new moon in Taurus. Because what do we know about that new moon in Taurus coming in? We know that Taurus is hosting the North Node of Destiny right now. So this is really going to be a time for us to plant that Ace of Pentacles when Taurus season kicks off. It's going to be that time to really say, okay, I understand what has worth, what has value and meaning in my life. I also understand the ways that I have not been investing my energy in the right direction, the ways I've been holding on to things that are only holding me back. And I also understand that I'm the only one that can change that. And so now I'm willing to take the actions. I'm willing to put my plans in motion. I've got the information I need. I know how to move forward now. So let's just have a look and let's dive right into it. And thank you so much, all of you showing up. And if you haven't subscribed, could you please give me a subscribe? I really appreciate it. It helps out the channel and it allows these messages and this support to get out to more people. And that's so important for us right now, at this stage, to just have places where we can come and connect with others and have a sense of support, because we are all in it together. And to all of you who have subscribed and who show up and show out here, I appreciate you so much. I really value you. You are all a part of really helping me build the foundation. You're helping me build the strong foundation. So I kind of feel like all of us as a community, because the direction that's coming forward for me right now with BroadCoven is very different than it first was. When I first started, I realized it's something entirely different, than what I thought it was going to be. And what I thought it was going to be, I have a different idea for how to work with that, because that's just pure fun. And I still want to have that action going on. But I realized that there's something else that I'm being called to do here. And so I got my own kind of like Uranus action going on, pulling out the rug from under me and saying, hey, Broad, you got to think of a new way forward, check out this action, and it kind of requires me to step outside the box and just explore the unknown. And you're all doing that with me. I just had a hawk fly by the window. Messages from spirit, you're all here. You're all helping me build that energy. So you're part of my foundation. And I feel really blessed to have that. I'm very grateful for all of you. And it feels so good to connect with other people who share, common visions, Woo, yes. It's the activating force that's going to really fuel that Aries point. Got fire sign collective coming out real strong. Aries front and line there, of course, but also Leo, Sagittarius. When I call out any of the signs in a read, it's any significant placement. You can pretty much look at any placement with this astrology, because there's not one planet that's not having an impact right now. And do look at the houses as well, and check out your natal chart, because it's important to understand where do you have that fire in your chart. And even if you don't have, let's say, a planetary placement in fire, you still have that house in your chart. What do you got there? What action you got going on there? It can really give you a clue about how to work with this cycle. So if you need to get a chart, you can go to Astro DIENST.com and you get yourself a free one there. But this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. It's like we're moving into partnership, that partnership with spirit. All right. We have a seed we want to plant. That's what's coming forward. Okay. In this lunar cycle. This is why it's important to take this space with that Two of Swords, kind of block off your space so you can really focus. There's a need for you to really listen to yourself. I think a lot of you have been listening to people outside of yourself. You've been listening to the opinions of others, or maybe you've been listening to, certain ideals that you have passed down to you, things that have been programmed into you about what success looks like or what happiness looks like. And you're kind of just operating on autopilot. But have you really taken the time to sink into your soul and ask yourself that question on a very deep level, like what would really fulfill you? What if you had no concern about how other people would react to it, or what they would say, or what kind of image it would put off? What would really truly fulfill you? You know? And it's about having the willingness to look at that, kind of start to explore that a little bit, and just create the space to sink into it, see what comes in for you during the dark moon cycle, okay? Um, right now, we're letting go of what we just worked through in the last lunar cycle. So right now, we're getting used to this new way of dealing with structure, which is more fluid, right? It's not as hard lined as it used to be. With Saturn moving into Pisces, we're being asked to be a little bit more flexible, you know. We're being asked to kind of like loosen our grip. You know, a fixed hand is a losing hand because nothing can come in to fill it. You know, it's automatically blocking the flow. So we're really being asked to look at things in a new way and explore different perspectives. Just open up our minds around these things, our hearts around these things. And so using this time to sink into your own energy and really getting clear about how it wants to express itself in the world moving forward from this point is so important. It's going to give you a seed to plant. You're going to know what direction you need to head in. And right now it might just be just the smallest little beginning, right? It might not seem like much, but it's something that'll grow into something very, very, very abundant for you, you know? Something that has longevity. There's so much legacy energy out there right now. There's so much energy that's about leaving your mark on the world. And some people may think, well, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be, well known. It's not about that. We all leave a mark on the world. We all leave an imprint on the world. What do you want to leave behind? I have all these little birds buzzing around the window. It's really kind of cool. All these little messengers coming around. So I feel like something that's really coming forward for the collective, sort of as an assignment, a way to root this work is to create some space daily during this dark moon phase that will be coming in after this full moon to just daydream, meditate, stare off into space, listen deeply, block out distractions, take a little space from the hustle and bustle. If you can, out in nature, even better. Okay. And just listen to what comes in, let the guidance come in, really feel out what you want to do. And then when you get that seed that you want to plant, there's like this challenge, like, okay, take an action to make it official. All right. So maybe that means you go on social media and you put up a post and you put up a statement of declaration about some new pursuit you're going to take on, or some new action you're going to take, just to kind of put your feet to the fire a little bit. That's really working with that Saturn and Pisces energy in a different kind of way, right? You're just sort of holding yourself to a certain level of accountability and how you're planning to exercise your energy, how you're choosing to invest your time and your efforts, and you're letting it be witnessed. There's something about this. It's almost like once you make up your mind, and once you make some kind of statement of declaration, or you take some kind of action, I don't care how small this is. Maybe you want to head in a direction, you realize, oh, I need some education. Okay, so you sign up for a workshop, you sign up for a class. What if you're like, well, I can't afford to take a class or a workshop right now? That's okay. There's all kinds of free classes. There's all kinds of free workshops that come around. So go out, explore, sign up for one. It's the first step. There's this piece about the more that we can get clear on where we want to direct our energy and then actually take a physical, tangible action in that direction, the more life is going to start giving us what we need to take it the next step further. This is how we enter that reciprocal flow. And it really is about you determining what are you willing to stand up for. All right. You're being asked to connect with that spirit. Don't make it something just wishy-washy. Make it something that you're really passionate about. Make it something that you feel like is part of your calling. Like, I'm here to bring this forward in the world. I feel like I need to do this. I don't understand it. It may not be rational. You know, for some of you, it may not be rational. I don't know why I feel compelled to do this thing. I don't know why I feel compelled to reach out to this person. I don't understand why I feel drawn to go to this particular place. It can be anything, okay? But it's a piece. It's a piece to your puzzle. And you won't understand what it means until you take a step in that direction. And then one step will lead to another. The path will start to unfold before you. But you have to be willing to put it into action. You have to be willing to really stand up for what's true for you. You know, people always look at the Seven of Wands, they think of opposition. Yes, okay, that is one aspect. There may be a lot of people that don't agree with where you want to invest your time and energy. They may not agree with who you want to connect with. They may not agree with the kind of work you really want to be doing. They may not be in alignment with a move you want to make, or a way you want to, change up your life in some way that disrupts their comfort level. And that's what it's really about here. Because as you start to move more into your daring, and as you start to really take these actions that are aligned with what really lights you up, with what really excites you, you are challenging others' comfort zones. And so you might experience this opposition. And especially in this lunar cycle, you might experience this opposition in the form of people picking at those wounds. Because we're looking at the opposition to the Chiron in Aries. Okay. So that means people are going to they're going to ding you, man. You're going to have experiences that ding you, that remind you of why you should feel insecure, or why it's not possible for you to go for this thing, or the ways that you're not enough, or I'm only going to fail anyway, so why should I bother? Or this person's not even going to want to hear me out, or whatever it may be. I may be rejected, What if I make a fool out of myself? They're all going to laugh at me. It's all bullshit. And that's the test. Do you believe in where you want to go enough? Does it feed your soul enough that you're willing to stand for it, no matter what anybody else has to say about it? Are you willing to disappoint some people? Are you willing to let some people down? And I love that, Krista, that you're listening to the subtle nudges. It's all in the subtle nudges. It's all in the details, right? And that piece came in at the beginning. The devil's in the details. Okay. It's not just in the details that carry you forward, the details, the little breadcrumbs that are going to be left on your path at this time, the little synchronicities. Please, I hope you're paying attention. If you're paying attention, they're out there. There's all kinds of, like you're saying, those subtle nudges that are coming through right now. But if you're not paying attention, you won't see them. I mean, I just had a hawk fly by the window while I'm doing this reading here. Okay. Right up, swooped right up near the window, like maybe a foot away from the window. Okay. It don't get louder than that. That's messages from spirit. Hawk medicine is all about pay attention. All of life is talking to you. No, it's not your imagination. It all means something. Yeah, that rock you find at that particular time when you have that question, and it feels like an answer for you. Yeah, it's not your imagination, it's for real. And the more you're willing to kind of like open up your heart, your soul, your energy to really feel that connection, that interrelation we have with macrocosm, the more you're going to find that you're entering that flow of manifestation. And then just one by one, things are going to line up for you with so much ease. But it begins with us first listening and paying attention, and also listening to our inner dialogue, the narrative that we have with ourselves. that place inside of us that we're taking an action, in a direction that it kind of scares us, right? We feel a little wobbly. Well, it scares us because it's important. It means something. It's significant. That's why it scares us. But we know if we can be strong, if we can stand in our truth, if we can stay true to our path and where it's calling us right now, we know where it leads. Okay. So this is really about relying on that strength to carry you through, the strength of your what? Your passion, your will, your determination, your truth. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. It doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about it. What matters is it's your calling. It's your calling. They don't have to understand it. They're not the ones who got the call. You did. You picked it up. The call was for you. It's not for them. It doesn't have to make sense to them. And sometimes especially with this astrology in play, you're going to be called to move in a direction that's really outside of the box, and it might shake up people's perceptions of you. It might shake up your perception of yourself. You might be like, who is this person? Who am I? A lot of you may still be in this place right now. Like I said, a lot of people are getting their sea legs, they're finding their balance, those first steps into the unknown. When the fool first begins that journey, yeah, there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of enthusiasm there, but there's also that piece about there's dangers too. And the dangers of are falling into those old ruts, those old ruts where we can get stuck. The only difference between a rut and a grave are its dimensions. So it's being mindful of that, being mindful of that. And taking the time you need, during this dark moon cycle to steady yourself, okay? Really steady yourself. Now things are clearer. We've been moving through this painstakingly slowly, right? It's been a really slow climb to get here. Yeah, and a lot of us are feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of worry about what's on the other side of this letting go, what's on the other side of the things we need to release. I mean, we see this here. We got the 9 of Swords, and it was actually kind of nose diving too, right? So I feel like we're kind of in this place where we're almost moving out of it. It's like we kind of have the smoke and mirrors, the smoke and mirrors are starting to reveal themselves for what they are, the illusions that they are. We're starting to kind of realize ways that we play tricks on ourselves, things we've told ourselves that aren't really true, but we've been at this post for a long time. We've got the world in reverse, which means we're still kind of like fretting, worrying, processing, staying stuck, in the old cycle. I get it, man. Okay. Like everybody's been going through a lot of stuff. I get it. Okay. I get what the grief is about and that release that we're all in the process of moving through collectively together. It's also the release collectively, of how we're viewing our futures. The world is very uncertain right now. And there is an asteroid that is in play that has particular significance. It's the asteroid America. And yes, it absolutely relates to America. So, really, Americans, you're really going to be feeling this. You're going to feel that uncertainty. You're going to not know the way forward. You're going to have a lot of fears and anxiety, and in particular around the area of finances, the economic future, the stability for your future, what that looks like. Some of you may be in a position where you're having to dip into your IRAs. You're having to dip into what you thought was going to be sort of your seed money for your future, when you wanted to let go of, the grind and all the work you've been doing and just enjoy this time of, retirement. You know, you're supposed to work to, earn a living, not live to work, right? You know, and a lot of Americans are going to feel this, like they've gotten a real raw deal. They've been sold this American dream, but it's turning out to be a nightmare. And that's because there's a lot we need to do regarding revolutionizing these areas and how we move forward. All right. And it's going to look different for each individual and how they want to contribute to that collective effort. But all of us are being asked to really face up to it, face up to the illusion of security that we've been banking on, because it's not there. It's not. And the way we move forward is going to be very different from this point. So there's this place about when we stay in this space of the mental, okay, when we just let it ping pong around our head and keep us up at night and put us through a lot of stress, and we don't do anything to take effective action, we are disempowering ourselves, and we're also not helping the collective at all. We're not moving things forward at all. And we got to give it up. We got to stop, trying to flog a dead horse. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. We're not going to move forward the way we have. We are not with Pluto in Aquarius. We are not. We are not. We're really being asked to step into the unknown and reinvent the way we move forward, reinvent our entire structure. So do be looking for this to play out in the socio-political climate in the United States, big time, with that asteroid America in play. All right. But it's also happening on an individual level. You know, we're all going through our revolutions, and we got to just stop mourning the old cycle. We got to stop mourning the way it used to be. We have to. We have to stop being in this fear space of, uncertainty about our future. Yeah, it's uncertain. It always has been. That's kind of the thing, again, it's that like smoke and mirrors. Like, it's always been uncertain. There is no such thing as security. Not really. Not really. It's all an illusion. Anything can happen at the drop of a dime, just like that. Your whole life can change just like that. One experience, and the whole fabric of your carefully planned reality gets thrown up in the air, and the world spins and you don't know where anything's going to land. Okay. It's happened to me countless times. I know you've all had experiences like that yourself. So we have to get over this idea of security. Same thing within our relationship dynamics, which we have to look at with a Libra full moon. Okay. Opening your heart is never going to be safe. All right. It's never going to be safe to enter into intimacy with another, ever. It never will be. It's always going to require a risk. So again and again and again, it comes back to trusting ourselves, trusting ourselves and trusting our own truth, where we really feel called to invest our energy, where we do feel called to connect, where we do feel called to really step into what is really, pulling us forward on that heart level now, no matter what we find showing up there, because it's not really about that. It's so much with the Fool and the start of the new cycle. It's really about like just taking the risk. Sometimes all the magic happens in the leap. It happens in the leap. It's not even about the destination. Sometimes you think you're heading in one direction, and really that initial end destination is just sort of like, it's like the little lollipop, it's like the reward, the sweet promise, if you start to move in this direction and you start to go down a certain path, and it twists and it turns and it bisects with other timelines. And then the next thing you know, you're like, wow, this isn't even what I thought this would be. The Bible says God works through you, not for you. I like that. I mean, it's true. That's the way all of spirit operates. That's the way all of energy operates, no matter how you relate to it. The energy is working through you. You are a creator. That's what it means to have free will. Your will is what brings things into being in this world. How lucky we are to have that ability to co-create here, you know? So what's your peace? You know, what's your peace? And it's a creative process. You know, forget your plans. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, Saturn in Pisces, forget your plans. You can have a general idea, okay? But basically that general idea is about how can you best stabilize yourself? And I think that's really where people would be best served in putting their attention right now. Like how, Ted just shook his head. Yes, Ted agrees. You know, what can you do to really stabilize yourself? Okay. So you feel like you have the support that you need. How can you create that support for yourself? How can you set up your environment so you have space where you can process any, you know, emotions that come up for you? How can you create a sense of grounding in your life? How can you also create you know, sources of pleasure in your life? Make these things a priority. Let's also look at health. You know, how can I show up and really, that's foundational, right? Your health is wealth. You need the health of your physical body. You need the health of your mental well-being. You need emotional health. All of these things are so foundational. You can't really create anything if you're not in a place of health. So this is a great place to start, you know, even with this work we've been doing with Aries Point and these 40 days of transformation, you know, working with the Panchakarma techniques, you know, taking it to a whole other level, reinventing this idea of Panchakarma and its applications, all of us co-creating that space together. Do you notice, those of you who have been going through it, we've been co-creating that together. We've been co-creating the journey together. Somebody brings in a piece and I go, oh, okay, yeah, let's look at that. You know, I bring in something and it hits one of you in a certain center, and you look at something a little different, and then you're like, hey, well, what about this? You know, it's about getting the flow of communication going in a new way that creates new kind of structures, that creates a new way forward. But it's all very dynamic, it's all very fluid, it's all constantly evolving. It's a creative process. And we really want to believe, you know, in these containers. Why do we want to believe in these containers? Why do we want to put ourselves in boxes? Because as soon as we put ourselves in a box, you know, we limit our potential. We limit what could be possible for us moving forward. So what's possible for us? The full, the new beginning. You know, it's about not even having the question about what's possible. I don't know. You don't know. Do you really want to be limited by your ideas of what's possible? Again, get the ticket, go for the ride, you know, just see what comes down the pike for you. Make your decisions in the moment. As always, as it always is, your point of power is in the present. That's when your power of choice has the most effectiveness, all right? In this moment. You do yourself a disservice the more you keep your consciousness even focused on, you know, 5 minutes ago. The more you can keep bringing yourself right back to this moment, right back to this moment. Sometimes people have questions about that with presence. Well, how can I be present when I do have to make plans? You know, that's future thinking. Well, yeah, you're making your loose plans, okay, in the present moment. And when you're done making your plan, like drop it and now enter the stream as it is now. You know, the river always flows. You never enter the same stream twice. You just don't. Everything is constantly evolving. It takes chaos to birth a star. We all want that star, right? We all want that great hope. We all want the promise that's on the other side of that long, dark tunnel. It's coming. Crossing energy, Knight of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, I also see this as that journey, okay, of where we're starting here, right? We're starting in this position with that Ace of Pentacles that already came in. Okay, here's the Ace of Pentacles. This is what's coming in this lunar cycle. You got a seed. You're going to get a seed. If you don't know it now, you will by the end of this lunar cycle. You're going to know what you want to plant for your future. And then what do you need once you got the seed? Because here you are in these barren fields. There's nothing left to grow here. There's nothing left to grow here. So you can't sit and worry about what didn't grow here anymore. You got to move on from it. You got to be willing to turn, let the world turn. Let that world turn and release it, because doing so brings your victory. Doing so brings your success. It brings your fulfillment. It brings your happiness. It also brings the integration of your lessons, right? Again, a fixed hand is a losing hand. This may be coming up very strongly for those fixed signs. I'm talking to you, Leo. I'm talking to you, Taurus. I'm talking to you, Aquarius and Scorpio. Okay. So if you got any of those placements, look where you're still too fixed. Look at where you're kind of hanging on to something that needs to be let go of. And then I challenge you to go further. There's this piece that's really been coming in lately about it's so important to really understand your natal chart. It's so important to understand your soul's blueprint and how to work with those energies in the most empowering way. So look at where you do have any of those fixed signs in your chart. Okay. Look where you have Aquarius. Look where you have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio. What house is it in? What does that house rule over? All right, that may be where you're being a little too fixed. That may be where you need to do some letting go. You need to open up your mind to a different perspective. You need to reinvent things. You need to do things in a different sort of way. That's a way to work with it. What if you're like, well, I don't have any of those signs in my chart? You don't need to. They all have houses. Okay. Taurus is the second house. Leo is the fifth house. Aquarius is the 11th house. Scorpio is the 8th house. What do you got hanging out there? Get to know your chart. It will really help you. It will help you understand where you're holding on to things that you need to release, where you've got too fixed of a position because you're holding on out of fear. You feel like you're going to lose something. You're losing this opportunity to step into your success by holding on to this thing, by not allowing the world to take a turn. It's so important. Now, here's the key. You have to be in it for the long game, man, okay? Because nothing happens overnight. And in our society, we've gotten used to this instant gratification. We just think we can just say, oh, I want it, and it's instantly ours. But it doesn't work like that. Nothing's going to happen like that. We're wrenching the fabric of reality right now as we've known it. All the power structures are shifting. Everything is changing. And whatever is happening out there on the larger stage of life is also happening in our own inner world. It's deep, and it's not going to happen overnight. We got to be in it for the long haul. Okay. Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. Okay. Very methodical, though. Very methodical. Attention to detail. Knows how to lay down a proper foundation. Is so committed to what is being planted, it will see it through. It will not give up until it reaches full fruition. And that's what you're being asked to do. You're being asked to make this investment. Moving into the Taurus North Node of Destiny. Where's your destiny calling you right now? You've all been dealt a hand of fate. It's the alchemist's work to transform fate into destiny. That's where your free will comes in. We all get handed a raw deal by fate. All of us do. We all have fated experiences that visit us, that come into our lives. But we get to exercise our creative power, which is our free will about what we do with it. Okay? So believe in it, invest in it, right? And you'll step into this. I don't know why I set this here. It's like, maybe it's like, do you want to buy the ticket? Do you want to go for the ride? Do you? You can't know where you're going. You just have to trust where the call is leading you right now. And trust that, where it might look like you might suffer a great fall. You're like, if I'm like Icarus and I try to fly toward the sun, am I just going to suffer a humiliating fall? Am I going to fail? Is it just my ego that is compelling me forward? You might be looking at these things. Maybe you feel like, I shouldn't do this because I need to be concerned about, what this person needs, Maybe I'm being too selfish and heading in this direction. Well, maybe that's not the case at all. Maybe you actually really help those people by taking this risk to move in this direction. Maybe that's a catalyst another person needs to wake up to their own purpose on their life path, you know? And maybe you've been holding up the show because you've been playing it too safe, which has allowed everybody to stay in a stuck position. Something to look forward to in a new way, right? It's a different way to sort of set your sights out toward that horizon, but you got to trust. This is part of the journey with the Fool. It's like, you know, yeah, you got your fetch with you, you got your experiences, you have the wisdom that you've learned. The past will always be kind of like nipping at your heels in that regard, in a loyal way to remind you to be true to yourself. You learn certain lessons. You don't need to revisit those lessons anymore. And you can trust by the way that you're guided that as you continue to step forward and you take this leap of faith, okay, that path will appear before you. It will rise up to meet you. So we're really being asked, it comes back to this opening message like, what's your conviction? What is your non negotiable? What are you not willing to settle for? Where are you not willing to compromise? Because in your heart of hearts and deep in your soul that no, this is for me. This is what I'm here to do. So there really is this piece coming forward here about make some kind of tangible display that yes, I am planting this seed. That movement is being required of us right now. As soon as we take that movement, no matter how small that movement is, and maybe it's even just admitting the truth to yourself to begin with, like, okay, I'm not satisfied doing this. I feel like I'm being called in a different direction. And yeah, I'm really scared about that. I have insecurities about that. I don't know what I'm going to do, but yes, I'm committing to this. I'm going to move in this direction. I know this is my truth. Sometimes it just begins there. Then your whole frequency shifts. It's all energetics, you know. Tesla knew this. It's all frequency. It's all energetics. That plucks that network, that web of creation, and it reverberates through it, and then it starts to draw energy your way that is in harmony with that brings you into alignment with that, and then you get to see what's on the other side of that risk to take the leap. It may be a lot different than you expect it to be. Okay, anything else that wants to come through here for the collective in regard to this lunar cycle? Anything else that wants to come through for the collective in regard to this lunar cycle? Spirit. Okay. If we want to rise up into that Taurus North Node, as represented by this King of Pentacles, if we want to step into that destiny, we got to lighten our load. Not everything that you're carrying right now can come with you. It's going to slow you down. It's going to slow you down. So you really have to look at what's slowing you down right now, which means looking into some sensitive places, right? Some sensitive places. And I tell you, what you're going to bump up against during this time is you realize what's slowing you down and what you need to let go of. As you think of releasing these things, it's going to bring up all of those old tapes. It's going to bring up all of the shoulds. It's going to bring up all the ways you don't feel like you have what it takes to rise to the challenge because of that opposition to the Aries and Chiron. You're going to doubt yourself. So this is also about relieving yourself of this doubt that burdens you and slows you down. And, you can't get very far when you're carrying a load like that. maybe we could move forward a lot more quickly than that Knight of Pentacles if we weren't carrying so much, if we lightened our load a bit. We might be able to travel light. We might be able to travel at the speed of light. Who says that things have to take a long time? Maybe that's just where it's at right now because people are so resistant to, lightening the load. So I think the more that you can lighten your load, the more that you can get clear about, yep, this isn't working for me. This doesn't serve me. This is draining my energy. I don't want to invest in this anymore. I want to invest my energy in this direction. You start, putting down those wands and you start investing your energy, investing your fire energy, your actions toward where you do want to go. Then you move into this position of this victory you're looking for with the Six of Wands, that success you're looking for that leads to your wish fulfillment. Oh, and I love that that came in. I'm getting it revealed to me just like you. What we got here, Knight of Wands. We don't have to move forward slowly. We don't. It's up to us. We can go as fast as we want. Everybody is wanting to move forward. I hear it all the time. Everybody's like, why am I stuck? Why am I not moving forward? Well, because you're holding on to too much. You can't go with you where you're going. You're building brand new. You got to let go of some things. And for some of you, this is every bit not only an external, process of like letting go of a job or letting go of a relationship or letting go of a place you've been living for a long time, things along these lines, the very practical day-to-day things in life. But for a lot of you, it's also about letting go of, the story, letting go of the baggage, the emotional baggage you're carrying, letting go of worry, letting go of stress, letting go of strain. And if you are dealing with a lot of anxiety, worry, stress, strain, a lot of that has to deal with being in your head too much and you're not moving the energy. You got to get the energy moving out of your body, And if you need to get the energy moving just so you can kind of get it out of your space and you can see things clearly, what are we doing in the Aries point right now this week? We're focusing on energizing and we're focusing on moving our bodies. Okay. So maybe you just start there. We already know that health is foundational for where you're going. You can't make any magic happen in your life if you don't have the energy to do it, right? If you're feeling drained and tired, you can't make anything happen. So we know health is always a wise investment, right? So begin there, get moving, get physically moving. One thing will lead to another, okay? Bottom of the deck energy, I love it. And then what do we find? We find the masculine, the feminine, the avenue opens up for us, right? That avenue opens up for us. Remember, the masculine provides the avenue, which the creative energy comes through. And what do we got here? Oh, hello, creative energy with that big Empress energy coming on through. She who births all new things. This is our growth. It's our spiritual growth. It's our personal growth. It's our abundance. It's our blessings. We keep getting these messages. No matter how many times we do these readings, we keep getting these messages. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you, Real Key. Thank you. I really appreciate your energy and thank you for sending some love my way. Because let me tell you, I'm riding this energy right now. I'm really strong Libra, 5 placements. 5 placements, including my sun and rising, are all in Libra, and they're all in the first house of Aries. And I have my Aries and Chiron, so I'm really feeling this full moon, and that really just like, oh, how did Jer or Jer? How do I say your name? I don't want to mispronounce it. Ah, okay. So you're used to dealing with us Libras. All right. Yeah, so thank you. You fluffed up my aura a little bit. You gave me a little love and I really appreciate that. Thank you. Just gives a little balm coming in for the heart. So, this is really beautiful energy. Jer, okay. This is really beautiful energy coming in. And it's so much potential, but it keeps reiterating itself every time we do these collective readings. There's so much beauty and potential coming in, and we're just sabotaging ourselves because it's like we're clinging desperately to a dying world. I mean, that's sort of like what's happening globally. Like, we just cannot handle the way that the fabric of reality is just completely disintegrating in our grasp. We just are having such a hard time with it. Love you too. Thank you so much. We're having such a hard time with it. We want to continue to feed the illusion because we've built up this false sense of safety around it, but there's no security there. And it's that, like, it's the old axiom, right? It's like everything you want is on the other side of fear. It's true. And at the same time, I just want to say, because of all the sensitivity, right? With all the sensitivity with that Aries in Chiron in opposition to this full moon, please also be gentle with yourself. Because the parts of you that do feel activated or do feel anxious or do feel afraid of moving forward, you have to understand it's like a very young part of you, you know? This piece is really important to be mindful of. So just start with some kind of action, and it's usually best to work within the first 2 weeks of any cycle. Okay. So I would say, with this full moon, set an intention, just start with an intention tonight about, what is this seed that I want to plant? And then sometime, within the next 2 weeks, just take some action, just any action. It can be even something as simple as just doing a little research on this direction you want to head in. Or it can be talking to somebody, or it can be putting in your resume, or it can be beginning to write, those first lyrics to a song that will later form part of the album you want to put out there. It's different for each of you, but there's something that's really coming through right now. It's very like right. It's very right for really taking an action that will root that vision into material reality. So I want to do a final cut of the deck energy here, see what we got. The Hangman, all right? To that Seven of Pentacles. So this is the focus. This is the focus right now. You need to look at where you've been investing your energy with that Seven of Pentacles, right? Is it bearing fruit? Is it growing the way you want it to? If it is, keep at it. How can you invest further? What's the next step you can take? Have you kind of been holding off on taking the next step? This is about really, looking at things in a new way, looking at the ways you hold yourself up, and really deciding how you want to move forward. Where do you want to see that growth, right? You're being given an opportunity during the dark moon phase that will be coming in after this full moon to just take a moment, to sort of set your sights on how you want to invest your energy and really look at where you need to cut the cord on what's just draining you or taking up too much time or too much focus isn't helping you get where you want to go. Because if you do, big Empress energy. It's the manifestation of all the promise on the other side of that long dark tunnel, right? So trust in your creative power at this time. And I really feel like that is the memo right now. I just feel that so strongly. It feels really complete to me. I wanted to bring this in for all of you and just kind of give you a roadmap because it is a pretty dynamic full moon. And I hope that you're enjoying, those of you who are working through that Aries Point road opener. This is a pivotal point on a road opening journey. So you're going to find a lot of support with what we're working through in week 3 of that, just in moving forward. We're getting revved up. We're getting energized this week. We're doing a lot of letting go through the lower channels now, right? We're doing this detoxification from the lower channels, which is all about releasing fear. which can hold us back, releasing that anxiety, setting down a new grounding cord, okay, getting grounded in a new way forward. So that's really potent. And then with everything we're doing with the digestion, we're going to be better able to digest those last remaining holdover emotions, digest those thoughts, that are holding us back. And we're also igniting our inner fire, our Agni, our fire of transformation, that which gives us energy, so we can really blaze a new trail. So I'm so glad that you're all coming through with that. Oh, good to see you. Oh, good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear. And thank you so much to you, because I want to show you something. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm so excited. And it came on full moon. So talk about like big blessed energy. Thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate all of this wonderful ghee and self-care you sent my way. It's just like such a special gift to receive on this full moon. So I really appreciate you, and I cherish this gift. So thank you so much for sending this to me. I'm really looking forward to working with everything you brought in here. So yeah, I'm so excited too. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. That was a special surprise that came in today. Okay, so that made me feel really good. But I think that you'll find, those of you who are going through that copper reset course, you're going to find that the work in week 3 really supports everything that's happening astrologically right now. I do really want to encourage those of you who are curious about what I'm talking about, who haven't heard of this Kapha Reset course. It's a course that I created working with the wisdom of Ayurveda to balance Kapha. It's what we do during spring season. It helps put you in the seasonal flow, in harmony with nature. And you can access it for free. It doesn't cost you a thing. There's no sales pitch. There's no strings attached. There is no upsell or none of that other nonsense you often hear with free courses. It used to be a course that I charged for, but I'm moving in a different direction. I got the memo, okay? I got my Ace of Pentacles to plant, and I'm doing it. I'm taking the leap. I'm already moving in that direction, okay? And I can tell you that I was scared, okay? I'm not really doing Ayurvedic consultation anymore. I decided that I wanted to do Ayurveda on a level that really fueled my heart and soul. And I came to this place with it where I was like, I don't want to charge for Ayurveda. I don't. I just want to share it. I just want to share it and pass it on. And so when I first had this come in for me, I'm like, that's crazy. Because that's crazy, because I already put a lot of time and energy into building out Cobra's medicine bag, creating a whole course hosting platform. I mean, just to give you an idea of how you can work with this energy. When I lost everything in 2020 and I lost my career and I no longer had a physical place to practice Ayurveda because everything shut down, I had to really think outside of the box. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to take my work online. I can do online consultation. That'll work. Okay, I'm going to get into this, which meant I also had to get into video, which I knew nothing about. I was very intimidated to do. I had all kinds of insecurities around that, all kinds of doubts about that. Then I had practical challenges, okay, because I lost everything with 2020. I lost my car, I lost my house, all my belongings were left behind in California. Okay, I lost everything, everything. I had $2,000 to my name. I had $2,000 to my name. So what do? That's pretty crazy, right? And because I worked independently, I wasn't able to like access unemployment or anything like that. So I didn't have any funding at the time. So what do? Crazy me goes, I'm going to just try to launch an Ayurvedic practice online, and I'm going to invest what money I do have in this. Okay, that's risky. And a lot of people around me thought that that was ridiculous. You know, yeah, I feel you. I still am too. I'm not there yet. I'm not back where I was. I'm still laying down the bricks, man. I'm on that Knight of Pentacles journey, but I'm really ready to move it into the Knight of Wands. I'm ready. Let's fire it up. I'm ready to put the pedal to the metal and get moving forward, because I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm heading. I don't have any doubts about it at all. I'm just missing certain foundational, pieces that will get me where I want to go and let me really execute my full vision. But I trust, I know what I need is going to show up. What I need will show up. So I was like, okay, I got 2 grand. And so I had to set aside a certain amount of that just to survive and be able to pay bills. And then I had to look at, okay, I'm going to have to invest in a website. I'm going to have to get a domain. So I got some of these basic things, but then I was like, okay, I can't hire a web developer. I can't. I can't do it. I know nothing about that. I know nothing about building a website. I know nothing about LMS, learning management systems. I know nothing about course creation. I know nothing. Now, even if you don't want to do the Copper Reset course, I'm bringing this in because it applies to it's the same kind of energy that's in play right now, right? Even if you don't want to take the Copper course, even if you don't want to move through that experience, I really encourage you, go to cobrasmedicinebag.com, and I want you to look at the website that I built. And I want you to look at that Copper Reset course, and you'll see there's this beautiful butterfly on the homepage and a little write-up about the Copper Reset course. Underneath it, there's a button that says free access. I want you to click on that. It'll take you into the course for free. I just want you to see it because I knew nothing. I'm not tech savvy. And I taught myself how to create all of that. I could have said, I can't do this. I have no way of doing this. I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. I could have felt insecure. But there was something inside of me. I just had this calling. I'm like, this is my next step. This is what I need to do. And because I felt that pull, that energetic pull, and I knew I had to, it was do or die, right? It was like sink or swim. This is it. You ain't got nothing. You better figure out how to make something out of nothing. So what did I do? I went on YouTube. I watched videos. There's a wealth of resources out there. There's some really wonderful people out there. All you have to do is how to build a website on WordPress, how to build this, how to install LMS. You can look up anything and you'll find some kind of educational resource that will lead you through it step by step by step by step by step. Is it the long way home? Is it that Knight of Pentacles? Absolutely. But I did it. And I'm really proud of Cobra's Medicine Bag. I am really proud of my website. I'm really proud of my courses. I'm really proud of what I created. And now I'm even more proud and more happy and more fulfilled to be able to just open up my Ayurvedic courses one by one and lead you all through them, this year as we flow into those seasons for free, to just give it away as a seva. I'm so stoked to do that because that's what my heart really wanted to do. My heart really wanted to give myself over to Ayurveda. But the thing is it's not a static path. So I could have had all my plans about this, right? About how it had to go, what it had to look like, okay? But one step leads to the next. And when I started feeling this shift and I got really called back to focus more of my energy in my metaphysical work, which I've been a reader for 32 years. I've been a professional reader since I was 18 years old. I've done this kind of work for a long time. But I kind of took a back seat for a while because I was focused on other things. I was doing my body work, I was doing my physical therapy work. I was working as an Ayurvedic practitioner. And I got this memo, my most recent memo was, it's time to drop that. It's time to give that away. You're not meant to do that anymore. You've held the space for that. Now you need to head in this direction. And the direction I'm being called in is all around video and filmmaking and screenwriting and all this stuff that I never in a million years would have ever saw myself getting into. And I still don't know how it will all unfold, but it doesn't matter about the ticket. I'm going for the ride, and you just never know how something's going to play out or the effect that it can have. And I feel so grateful that I did what I planned to do, that I set out, that I saw it through to completion, that I didn't let any challenges get in my way. And am I wealthy financially? No, not yet. Okay. But all my needs are met. Everything I need is supplied for, okay? And more people are getting to know me, and more people are receiving my messages, and I'm making contact with more beautiful souls like all of you, and we're all co-creating together, and this beautiful thing is happening. And I'm just so excited to see it unfold. So that's what I want you all to like stir up inside of you and awaken inside of you. Don't use excuses. Don't use excuses. It's not going to come easy. Anything worthwhile doesn't. It always requires you to challenge yourself. It always requires you to do a bit of soul smithing, you know? It requires you to think outside the box, to, you know, believe in yourself. When was the last time you believed in yourself? I'm not talking about somebody else believing in you. I'm not talking about a vote of confidence outside of yourself. And all of that is wonderful. It's beautiful. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Drink it in. It's sustenance. It's food for the soul. It's mana. Take it in, offer it up. It fuels more actions going forward. And all that beautiful energy just continues to flow in this beautiful reciprocation in everything you do and everything that comes back to you and all the lives it touches, okay? That's all wonderful. But when was the last time you believed in yourself? And a lot of times it begins with first telling yourself the truth, being honest with yourself about what you're called to do, being real with yourself about the ways you hold yourself back from actually doing it, the excuses you use to hold yourself back. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. You can do anything you put your mind to, anything. There's always a way. But what does it require? It requires you work with that Saturn and Pisces energy. You can't have a fixed hand. You have to think outside the box. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emily. See, and that's what it's about for me. What I've been doing, Emily, you've been doing it, Emily. You've been doing it. I provided you some tools. I provided you some tools that I was provided by the path of Ayurveda. That's why I wanted to pass it on. This is what I love about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is about empowering you. It's about empowering you. It's all in you. You can heal yourself. You know, you can heal your life. Louise L. Hay energy coming in. Some of you might benefit from that, for that to come in like that. You know, Louise L. Hay is brilliant, you know, just in helping you understand how we develop certain health conditions, you know, where they stem from, the emotional sources, the mental sources, and work we can do around that, you know. I'm so grateful that you are feeling the difference and that others are seeing it. And that makes me feel super fulfilled. That's why I show up. That's why I show up and do this work, because that's where my heart's at. I want to see everybody feel empowered. I want to see everybody living out their purpose, because I know that if everybody starts to, you know, follow that light inside of them, what really excites them, what they feel connected to, 1:33 on the clock, I know that we all start getting free. You know, I know that it gets better for all of us. The more of us that start to, you know, take these actions, the more of us that take that risk to invest in ourselves, believe in ourselves, believe in those crazy wild dreams we have, that they can be possible. And there's a reason why it's waking up inside of you. It's not for nothing. And the first thing you can do is really trust your intuition, you know, just trust, like, okay, yeah, it may seem crazy. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. Yeah, I got a lot of roadblocks. Okay. I'm not going to be unrealistic. It's not going to be easy. But I can do it. I can do it. And something beautiful grows from that. So carry a little bit of that energy with you. Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. I love that you all are feeling the difference. It's simple, right? It's so simple. And let me tell you, the best kind of care is preventive care, right? The best time to focus on your health is now, before you have the beginning of any of these dis-eases. That's all it is. It's just about being not at ease in your body, not at ease with your emotions, not at ease, with where you're at, with your perspective, your mental landscape. So it all makes a big difference. So I just want to open it up, and before I, sign out here, and I think this is all I'm going to do today with this full moon energy. I really feel called, to do a little ritual work for myself. I just want to sink into this full moon energy. I'm going to go out in the rain. I'm going to get a cleansing purification from nature. And I just want to draw down that moon tonight. So I think this is the only video I'm putting up today. But I want to give you all a chance to just drop in. And do you have any questions? Is there anything you need any clarification on for those of you that are going through that Kapha reset course and you're moving into week 3? I know there's a lot of different questions that come up. Emily, you brought it in on comments, so I do want to bring it in on the video because I find it's a comment and a question that I get frequently with the 10-day ginger treatment. So what I do want to say about the 10-day ginger treatment is do not do all the steps at once. They are laid out in sequential order for a reason. So you're first going to begin with your 4 days of drinking the ghee in the graduated dose as outlined. Once you've done that for 4 days, you stop drinking the ghee. Okay. Then you're going to go to drinking that shooter. Okay. You can also work with the blend I brought in yesterday, which is that golden raisin, sesame seed, soaked overnight, equal parts, blending it, draining it off in the morning, blending it up, pulsing it in a food processor or blender to make a paste, taking a teaspoon of that with every meal. You can do both if you want. You can do both of those if you want. You could do the shooter. I wouldn't do them on the same day, okay? But you could do the shooter and then you could follow it up with more long-term clearing if you feel like you have a lot of old stuff to clear out, all right? Or if you feel like you haven't been really grounded for a while, or if you feel like you have a lot of fear you deal with or a lot of anxiety you deal with, that could really help. Okay, it could just help really strengthen your grounding cord to clear out those lower channels really thoroughly. So if you wanted to, you could continue forward with that. But you do the shooter, okay, on day 5. All right. Once you've done that, if you want to continue on, you can continue on with the sesame, the sesame raisin blend, sesame raisin blend, but don't continue on with the castor oil. Okay, that's a one-shot deal. All right, you only do that on day 5. Then day 6, you start the 10-day ginger treatment. So to do the whole treatment, it actually takes, a good, 15 days, a little over 2 weeks. All right. So you want to do it step by step by step. The whole course is like that. So when we're on week 1, you do week 1. There's always a focus at the end. If you're wondering, what am I supposed to focus on? I always encapsulate it at the end with a focus that highlights each step that you need to focus on that week. And I usually put in bold print, what relates to the section you want to refer to if you need any guidance about a recipe or, how to go about executing a particular step, something. I really tried to, lay it out the best I could. When you're done with that week, though, you're done with that building block. Now you leave that behind and you move on to the next step. You leave that one behind and you move on to the next step. So each step is a building block that leads to the next layer of the experience, the next layer of cleansing and release work, and also building that we're doing as we move through this experience. So you can always refer back. And if there's certain things that you enjoy, like, of course, you can use the recipes throughout. Just when it comes to things like additional cleansing, like the shooters and things like that, you don't want to continue to use those. You know, you don't want to continue to use the switchel because those have a specific application. It's for really just like serving a purpose, you know, to get some stuff cleared out. It's not meant to be done repeatedly because it will become too depleting and we don't want that, you know. But as far as the other recipes, like the energy truffle balls and, you know, the cleansing pestos and, you know, things of that nature, you can, of course, you can keep eating those things, you know, they'll do you good through the spring season. And a lot of them, you know, you can even, some of them you can even bring into summertime. But you'll find out what summer's all about when I open up the Pitta course. All right. It's a whole different vibe. You're going to get to know the doshas. I love this. I just get to like pass on the education that I received in Ayurveda and everything I've learned. I get to just like pass it on to you. And then, you know, I hope you'll pay it forward. I hope you'll let other people know about the course so they can learn too, you know, and feel empowered. How about the liver tonic? You know what? You could do that for a bit. You could do that for a bit if you really enjoy it, especially if you do it as a borscht, you know, if you make it as a soup. Yeah, you can keep that going. That'll actually really serve you through the fall. Again, I want you to pay attention to your body and how your body is feeling, okay? Because we have to understand that with kapha, anything we're working with kapha, it involves like a lot of astringency, okay? And so if you're somebody that has like, if you're somebody that's dealing with any kind of like dry conditions, you know, like I was mentioning before, vata symptoms. What are vata derangement symptoms? We call it vata derangements when you have too much air, ether energy in your body. And some people do develop that. Some people come out of wintertime and they don't got kapha accumulation. They're really just too much in their vata. Okay. They still need the balancing of moving in harmony with the spring season by, you know, taking these steps. And there can be ama that can accrue more dried, stuck ama when it comes to looking at a vata imbalance. But the way you can tell if you have a vata imbalance is you got a really busy mind, like a monkey mind. Your thoughts are always spinning. You have a hard time relaxing, winding down. You might deal with anxiety. You might deal with worry. You might be having trouble sleeping. You might feel like your energy is really scattered, like you have a lot of projects going at the same time, but they're all halfway done. You're not seeing anything through to completion. Um, you might feel not grounded, you know, you might be experiencing severe weight loss. Um, you could also just feel like intense nervous system activations, all those nervous system influences. Um, you know, dry, brittle bones, so kind of like having your joints crack a lot, you know, things of that nature. Dry, cracked lips, dry skin. These are all vata like conditions. Okay. If you got that action going on, I will honestly tell you that, you know, uh, you probably would be better served focusing more on what really gets the hydration in, you know. So I definitely, if you're in that place, I wouldn't do, you know, I wouldn't do the shooter, you know. I wouldn't do the shooter. I would work with the sesame seed, work with the sesame seed and golden raisin clear out. You want to adapt it to where you're at and how you're feeling, you know. Also, likewise, you know, if you're feeling really inflamed, if you got a lot of fire, you're going to need to make sure you're bringing in some tempering energy, you know, bringing in some tempering energy in relation to that inflammation. So you want to make sure you're getting lots of good, you know, mono unsaturated fats getting in, lots of good evening primrose oil coming through on that. That would be a really good one if you're dealing with inflammation. Evening primrose oil would be something very beneficial to add. You also want to make sure you really got your hydration up. You know, there's different areas of focus. You know, the best way you can sort of like cue yourself is when you're cold in Ayurveda, you want to go towards what's warming. Okay. When you're too hot, you want to cool things down a little bit, you know. Um, when you're feeling too dry, what do you need? You need oilination, you need hydration, you know. It's very simple. It's that temperance, you know, finding the balance. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I am too. I'm ready to just like let's just wrap up the old cycle. Let's clear this road. Remember, we got to clear it within first, though. Our bodies are the altar. Our bodies are the wands. So the more clear we can be, you know, internally, just, you know, doing that work, that purification work, cleansing all the old energy attachments, you know, doing all that release work. What did you think of it? I want to hear what you thought of it. The ghee, I can't wait to put that ghee in my eyes. Let me tell you, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that. And you all can put ghee in your eyes. If you're dealing with dry eyes, irritated eyes, I had a little bit of that action going on just from all my screen time. Ugh, yeah, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. It feels so good. And you know, it nourishes that optical nerve. And that optical nerve just nourishes the whole nervous system. It's so good. If you're curious about that, I did a video. It's on the it's on the Panchakarma playlist from Own Your Fire, the one we did last year. And I do a video on how to give yourself a netrabasti using a shot glass and using ghee. And it's excellent. It feels so good. Highly recommend it. I I that's what I'm talking about, Emily. If you go on the Panchakarma playlist, I show you how to do a netrabasti with the ghee using a shot glass. It's a little, it can be a little bit of a messy process, okay? But I did it by just simply getting a wet paper towel. I got it nice and soggy, okay? And I made sort of like a donut, all right? And then I filled a shot glass with warm ghee. You want to make sure you really test the ghee. You can put your like fingertip in it and make sure that it's like lukewarm. You want it to be about like tepid, like a temperature of a baby bottle, okay? And then you just kind of like put that, you know, little dam you made with the wet paper towel on the shot glass rim, and then you just put your eye down there, and then you like tilt your head back, okay? You can, if you do it in the shower, like when you're going to shower, it's probably the best time to do it because, you know, if a little drips, it doesn't matter. And then you open your eyes, okay? So now your eye is submerged under this warm ghee. You're gonna open your eye, and then you do eye exercises. So you look up, and you look down, and you look in, and you look out, and then you blink your eyes a few times, okay? Because that gets your own like detoxification process going in your eyes. It works with the tear ducts so that it starts to get like this release happening. Then you can like take the shot glass off your eye, set it aside because you'll use, you know, you'll put some more ghee in and do your other eye with it. But you close your eye and then you like massage around your eye, all around your eye, and you push everything towards your tear duct. And what it does, it helps pull all this grit, you know, all this grit out of from behind your eye, even behind your eye. Sometimes really strange stuff comes out. You'll see like little flecks of like old mascara, or you'll find hairs. Like there's been people who've had long hairs come out. You'd be surprised at what can get behind your eye and cause irritation. But this is another detoxification portal. Your tear ducts, okay? So it makes a big difference. And I love just the way it makes me feel. It's so calming. That's great too. What a great way to do that. That's another way you can do it. Okay. I blink into a large soup spoon over the sink. Okay. Yeah. You can just like rest, give it a ghee bath that way. You know, there's creative ways that you can do it. You could do a dropper. You could if you wanted, but there's something that's really more deeply nourishing about really letting it be kind of like under a ghee bath for, for just a moment there, where you can really like work those eye positions and let that ghee come in and really coat. It's so good. Don't do it with regular butter, please. Anybody listening to this, don't do it with regular butter. Please make sure you use ghee to do this. And it's completely safe and it's so beneficial. It feels so good. I actually love to work with ghee for abhyanga sometimes when I'm doing panchakarma. It's just so easily absorbed into our tissues and it's so deeply nourishing. It's really good for the nervous system. So highly recommend that, highly, yeah, no salty eyes. That's the thing, ghee is made with unsalted butter. It's, usually we go for grass fed, we go for organic. So you want to use good quality ghee, either make some of your own or, go and get yourself some organic ghee. You can find it pretty easily. I mean, you can even go in most major grocery stores now and you can find it. So that can be super helpful. If you're somebody who's dealing with any kind of like migraines, headaches, having trouble sleeping, you got a busy monkey mind, you're feeling anxious, and you can use it. You can use a ghee bath for the eyes that will help support that. It might sound a little strange. It's also beneficial if you're dealing with any kind of trauma. Remember, we talked about the lymph system, right? So we talked about Brahmari breath, right? That came in, that humming bee breath. Well, you could even take that to the next level, right? You could work with that Kapalabhati breath, that skull shining breath, or breath of fire, and go through that whole process that's in that ritual that's in there, that samskara clearing ritual. Well, you could even take it a step further before you bring in the pranayamas. And if you wanted to, you could do the nausea, snorting up the, a little bit of the oil. I've used ghee for that too. I put ghee everywhere when I'm doing panchakarma because it's just so nourishing. And it's the most accurately close match we have to the natural lipids in our body. So our body just so readily absorbs it, and it feels. Once you do it, it sounds weird, but once you do it, it feels so good. So you could do the nausea, right? You could do that nausea, get that in there, and then you could do your, Kapalabhati breath, your breath of fire, and then after that, before you do the Brahmari breath, which there's some different ways you can do it. There's a whole way you can do it where you use your thumbs, to press on this part of your ear to just close off the sound, and then you can like rest your hands like so over your face, making contact with your third eye. That's another kind of hand posture you can do with it. Some people really enjoy doing that because it kind of keeps your attention on this, third eye point, ajna there. If you did that, the ghee bath for the eyes before you did the Brahmari, that would be super, super effective. Yeah, it does. Exactly. Exactly. It brings in the mother energy. It does. It does. Brings in the mother energy. And that's actually what the kapha cleanse is all about. It's about clearing out everything that's getting in the way of the mother bringing in her nurturing. In fact, that final week, week 6 is totally focused on that divine feminine principle. It's focused on that goddess energy, like big Kuan Yin energy, bringing in the love and the compassion and the nurturing and the mother just pouring herself into you. It's really beautiful. So I love that you picked up on that. And ghee is brought in a lot. We sometimes will even do rose infused ghee. That's lovely. Rose infused ghee for doing your abhyangas. Oh, it feels so good. I'll slather myself in ghee. I don't care. People think it's crazy when they hear you say, I'm like, I'll do neti with ghee. You know, I'll warm up ghee, I'll put it in a neti pot, and oh, that is awesome. You know, you could do that too. If you want to go beyond nausea, you could do that too. And I also talk about that in the Own Your Fire Panchakarma playlist we got right here on BroadCoven from last year. So you can always kind of like look at some of that stuff. Do understand though that what is in that particular Panchakarma, we did that last year. Like it was like kind of in the midway point in summer leading into the beginning of fall. So our focus was very different. All right. We were working a little bit more with pitta energy. All right. So you want to be mindful of that. So don't go verbatim with what's brought in there, but you can refer to that particular course. If you are dealing with more dry conditions or hot conditions, there's certain things you can bring in there that kind of like balance you out. So it's a building block to help you deal with some of those issues. You know, if you're dealing with more dry, hot kind of conditions that you need to address, you can incorporate some of that stuff in. But you still want to stick to the template of the kind of food we're incorporating at this time. Um, you know, make sure you're including some liver cleansing foods and things along those lines. Oh yeah, the rose ghee, it's phenomenal. Chef's kiss. It's phenomenal. It smells so good. It's really good for doing like I like to use rose ghee for like belly rubs, and I like to do rose ghee for like, you know, working the breast tissue. It's so like it just feels like you're getting a big hug. It feels so good. You can also do 100 times washed ghee, where you take ghee and you submerge it underwater, okay, and you like swish it around, and then you pour off the excess water, and then you pour more water in. You could do it with rose water. Wash your ghee with rose water, and what happens is you get left with just the lipids, okay? It turns it into a cold cream, and it looks white, like all the color goes out of it, and it doesn't have that smell. And you can use that as a face cream. And let me tell you, it does amazing things for the skin. It'll make your skin glow. You'll have so much radiance. It's really awesome. Awesome. All right. So, any more questions? I'm heading right up to that 2 hour mark, and I think I'm going to get ready to kind of wrap it up here. So, anything else needs to come in? Anybody? No? Okay. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up and sharing your experiences and being part of this journey with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make some beautiful magic, you know, with this full moon, however that speaks to you. We all have our own kind of magics, right? So whether that's, you know, singing a song to the moon, or, you know, indulging in some kind of, you know, spiritual cleansing bath, or even just allowing yourself to moon bathe a bit, you know, and letting that lunar energy come in, giving yourself that time and that space to look up at the sky and sort of just meditate a bit on where you're at and where you're looking to go. I hope that you'll drink in the energy tonight and let it help you find your own sense of balance within to lead you forward as we move through this cycle. And I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to drink in this magical hour that will soon be upon us, and just really enjoy it and luxuriate in it. Bring in some good old timey magic, you know, do some workings. I'm going to do some road opening workings tonight, and that feels really good to me. And then I'm just gonna let myself luxuriate and relax. So I hope you all will too. And I'll be back tomorrow with a live. Tomorrow's live I'll probably do later in the day, much like today, I imagine, just because usually with the full moon I get really supercharged and I have a hard time sleeping.
So I probably won't get good sleep until the wee hours. And I just want to make sure that, I feel like I'm coming from a full place when I drop in with you all. So blessings to all of you. Have a beautiful evening. And thanks for dropping in. See you tomorrow.